Greetings, sir and sirettes, and welcome back to Terratech with me, Lathrix, and of course, welcome to the tech graveyard once again. In today's episode, we are going to be packing our things, building a plane, and finding a brand new place to live. By the end of the episode, my main goals is to have a brand new venture-style plane, which is going to be all about speed and agility rather than weaponry, in order to scout the map, and let's see if we can find a brand new place to live. Although I do love it here in the salt flats, not the sand flats, that would be silly. I do think it's about time to move. The spawn rate here is ridiculous, and it's impossible to keep this place clean. There's always more mobs to kill, always more tech spawning in, and the amount of CPU lag I'm getting is actually pretty atrocious. So I'll be right back once I've cleaned up this mess at least a little bit, and we can get building our plane so we can move out to somewhere brand new. Okay, I'm going to be cheating a little bit, and we're going to be using the GSO cab rather than the Venture cab. The reason being is it's just such an easy cab to build around in comparison, because it has 5 points you can attach things to, in fact 6 because of the bottom, whereas the Venture pod only has 2, being the bottom and the back. So with this, we can very easily armor it up, even in a very light, very nimble plane. So yeah, a bit cheaty, but I think it's better in the long run. And so dawn has finally broke, so let's get building. I really want this plane to look a little bit different to the planes we've already been building, because I found that a lot of my builds end up looking very, very similar to each other. So what I would like, if possible, is perhaps a small set of wings at the front, then larger at the back, followed by a small tail section. So it sort of goes medium, large, small. I don't know why I have this idea in my head about that, but I think I may have saw a design similar in the not-so-distant past on a thumbnail or something. I really couldn't tell you, but it's definitely the idea I want to go with. So the front, probably something akin to just that, at the most basic of basic, and then as we go back, we'll use some of the wing extenders and other items like that. But first, I would like to quickly put down one of the purchasing stations, there we go, one of the payload terminals, just to make sure I can buy things as I continue. So next, I want to expand this, and then, maybe a bit further back than that actually, so maybe a bit of a larger gap. This plane doesn't need to be small, it just needs to be agile, so even if it ends up being huge, as long as we can use it to turn easily, then all is well. I could put that like this, but then that is higher. How would these look on the side? Obviously, they're not really meant to go on the side like that, but it could be something we do. Decisions. We could do something similar to this, but I think that looks a little bit too gangly, honestly. It looks a little bit too... I don't know what the word really is, but it looks a bit stretched out. It's not quite what I'm looking for, but certainly something similar to that might be what we go with in the end. Actually, I've just had another idea. How about we put these up here like this, as this wing gets stuck to be annoying. Then we have the downward sections like so, which then connect to a brand new piece. Maybe if I use this, just to make it look a little bit less two-dimensional for once, and then from there we add the wings. No, is that the right? No, that's left. That is indeed right. There we go. Something like that. I don't know if that looks good, but it definitely looks different. So then the one at the back could be extended by one like so, and then we could have a similar effect to what we were going for before, except for it will look a little bit thicker, it will look a little bit less like it's going to snap in a slight breeze. Then once again, we're going to use as many brackets as possible, because apparently they're very light. Ooh! This also gives us the opportunity to perhaps use, where are you, my lovelies, the turbine propellers, and then they can go along here and it'll be all nice and out of the way and actually look like it's part of the thing. Now, what would be better, using the Hawkeye version, which are freaking huge, or using the GSO version, which are a little bit smaller, and it does fit the colour scheme better? Yeah, I think using the GSO propellers like this may be the best way, just because I think it would look a bit better. Although, of course, maybe putting them the right way around might also be pretty darn good. Like so. Actually, which way around would be the best looking? It's hard to tell. Yeah, I think like that would be best. It looks like it's actually hanging on and connecting at the side as well. So that can be our propulsion. Although that would make the propulsion pretty low, which means it will try to make us pitch up constantly. I don't know, actually, if that does look good or not. Well, there's another benefit to using those turbines there. We can actually connect it all up to our next wing segments, so it does look like it's actually part of the craft. Now, that is definitely not enough thrust for this entire craft, but at least it's a good start, and it's all nice and hidden within the entire thing. So again, it doesn't look too obvious, it's not like it's out of place, and it looks a bit more natural than some of my other builds. I could actually add a couple of turbines here as well then, do a similar thing here, except for we're not using the additional middle wings. But then I would need to though, wouldn't I? Yeah, because it would... Too many choices, too many options, and too many builds. Okay, let's just add ourselves some more brackets and then decide how we're going to do the rest. There we are, bracket, bracket. Bracket, bracket, all nice and connected up. Would that look good, or does it look a bit obvious? No, it looks very much like it's not part of the craft. So I do need to do something in the middle here, because right now it's a bit out in the open a bit. Again, frail looking. That's one of my big problems with venture builds. They do tend to end up looking frail, at least with my builds. Obviously only talking about my own stuff here. Then we'll put the wing segment about here. So we need something on the nose. Now, of course, on the nose, we could do the obvious option, which is to add a propeller. There we go. Oh, no, that looks really too small, way too small. We could add a spoiler, though that will generate some pretty weird lift. Well, actually, negative lift. Wait, does that propeller... No, does that spoiler make the nose go down? I believe it does, at least in tests previously. It's always best not to assume the logical option, because each game has their own sense of logic. Ooh, I could do... Aha! I've got an idea, and that is normally a bad thing. How about if we add some venture blocks here and here, and then on those we add propellers, and then we just add little tail wings instead. That actually looks different. Doesn't look good. Looks different though, and I do like that. Something unique to the usual builds. Then we can add some new brackets here and convert the top ones into the U brackets. Yes, actually, yes, I do like that. This is going to look so odd, but I'm fine with that. I want it to look very Lafrixian, something different and more unique to me. Okay, good start, I think. Bit thin down here, though, although... Now we have that there, we could probably do something with the brackets to connect them. I love the brackets. Let's focus on the front now, because obviously I'm not really happy with how this looks right now. So what should we do? I think the obvious option would be just to go like, no, is to go like that. Just add an extra propeller to the front, it makes the front look a bit more pronounced than the rest, and it gives it a nice style. I think that will most likely be what we go with, although, once again, brackets to the rescue, giving it a bit of texture. No. No, yes, thank you. You can both go like that, and then, do we have any small lighting options? That looks okay there, okay. But any lights we could add here? Just something to make that look a bit more alive? That sort of works. How about if we, instead of using a double, we just use a single instead? Single block, thank you. Then we put the propeller back. Propeller. Where did that propeller get to? It shot off across the sodding map. There it is. You come back. Go back on the front. There we are. A bit more propulsion for the craft. What should I add on the side? Something... I don't want to use another bracket, but I feel like the bracket is the easy option here. Yeah, that doesn't look terrible. That definitely doesn't look terrible. Doesn't look great either, but it certainly works. So if this is going to be the front, the next thing we need to add is the wheels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. Once again, we're going to use the U bracket because I think it looks glorious no matter how you place it. And then... No. U bracket, get back to where I want you to be. Come on, good boy. Then we're going to add these venture landing wheels at the front like this, and that way we've got a very, very tall front, which is good. And at the back we can just do something like that. Nice, simple, and that should function. Of course, at the moment we still have no back section to this craft, so flying it is not allowed, but look how fast that's moving. Oh lord, yep, that's moving very, very quick. The only problem is that right now I think we don't have enough lift at the very front, so we may have to replace these itsy-bitsy tail wings with the larger wings once again. Which is fine. That's no major concern. Left goes there, and then the other one will be the right. Honestly, this would probably work as it is. If we were to balance it a bit more, remove that weird tail section, this would probably work. Probably not the best, probably very hard to control, but it would function as it is, so... I am tempted to try and go and test it, but for now, let's just continue. Should I maybe make this a bit smaller? This looks a bit obvious, this front section. Not too keen on it. Let's see. Just put these in the black hole. As you do. Casually throwing things to a black hole. Then, the Globetrotters are very, very wide, but not particularly tall. Ah. Yeah, that isn't quite good enough. Well, we'll see. We'll try and find a nice medium. Let's make that nice and symmetrical, so one more block. So let's use a double there rather than a single. Thank you. That goes there, so there's 2 spaces between each section, and then we go with the brackets, like so. Again, are we out of those brackets? I have been purchasing so many of these. To the company who makes these, aka Venture, I am making you a lot of profit right now, guys. I expect at least 1 free per 10. Really, just a little deal here and there, a little bit of marketing, it'll be great. And then let's do this, as always, and then we add the tail wings to the back. Okay, yeah, I actually quite like how this looks. Maybe a bit too short, though. Maybe a bit longer would look better, especially with how wide that middle section is. Now, we do also need a top section, a tail wing facing upwards, and I think that's where that's going to come in handy. I don't know how just yet, but I'm sure it will. No, okay. This whole middle spine thing isn't going well, so I'm going to remove that and figure out a better way to make it look a bit more connected. Oi! I didn't mean to remove the wing. For now, I've decided to go with the dual landing wheels at the front, just because I feel like that's going to make it so much easier to land, and ultimately will save us a lot of damage in the long run. Although I am very nervous right now looking at this thing, it's probably not got enough lift on the front. The front is not going to lift naturally, so what I'm going to do, even though I don't really want to, is I'm going to change these wheels here, and by wheels of course I mean wings, and I'm going to add a couple more wings to the front by removing this. So goodbye to the brackets, hello to the black hole, and then we will attach the right wing on the right side and the left wing on the left side. This way we have a lot more lift on the front. Even if it becomes front heavy in terms of lift, that's still better, in my opinion, than being back heavy. We're getting very close now, very, very close indeed. Although on the front, what I would love is one of these. I don't know why, I just like them. And so it's daytime, and time to test out our little plane. Well, more of a medium-sized plane. It's definitely not huge, but it's definitely not tiny either. And it does have a tiny little missile on the bottom, which I think may work, although I think it may also hit the propeller about 50% of the time. It's just the only place I could easily add a missile, which wasn't on the front, which will just weigh down the front even more. So, will it work? Okay, we are definitely airborne. We are slowly pitching downwards, but not awfully. Okay, let's see control-wise. Oh, that is so much better than the Hawkeye version. Utterly tanking my frame rate there, though. Let's go somewhere a bit more isolated and put it through its paces. So, this craft is going to be our scout vehicle. I could have easily built a tiny little plane, which is about maybe a third of the size of this, which probably would have done the job better, but I feel like that's almost cheating. And yes, that missile is absolutely worthless there. I will have to replace it. I could use a cruise missile because they drop down before going forwards, and now I've said that, that's a fairly obvious option. Here's the question. Can you fly upside down? You kind of can, okay? So we're going to just toss this off the side, and we're going to replace it with the cruise missile. Hard to see what's going on here. I think that's the right way around. Let's have a quick look-see. Yes, it was. There we go. We have a single cruise missile just in case we need to do some fighting. So, first impressions, really happy with the craft. My frame rate is slowly getting better. I was just about to point to it with the mouse, but of course you can't see it because it's not recorded with everything else. Oh, we need a radar. We can't really see what we're doing right now. Okay, for this one I'm going to ooh. I was going to say going to land, but what are you? Just a rock? Okay, in the middle of the desert, there is a rock. Ooh, a really flat rock. Landing. No, don't slide off. Yes, there we go. Aha! We could totally build on this. We could so easily have a little landing pad. We're back at 60 frames per second. That's the first time I have been at 60 FPS in Terratech in like maybe 5 episodes. That is glorious. It's a new place with very few spawns and flattish on the top. Okay, so for a start, this looks really good, and it's almost directly north from our base. But first, let's quickly add a radar. Anywhere really will do. There we go, on the bottom of... Oh wow, our cab is really exposed. Need to do something about that. There we are. So we are pretty much just north of our base, and this is the first thing we have found. The little flat rock. Very cool indeed. And off we go again. I love being able to turn and not losing altitude constantly. First crash in the new plane. The honor. Note to self, batteries and repair bubble might be kind of awesome. Although that would weigh down the craft. So like I was trying to say, isn't it nice how we can turn without losing altitude unless we randomly crash into a rock? Whee! Okay, so much better than the Hawkeye variant, so much more fun to use. Cruise missile in the face, take that. Let's continue our hunt for a new home. That is a very promising start. But let's see if there's something cooler in the distance. I'm just going to carry on north. This way it should... north from where we were. Okay, so kind of going more towards the east/west, depending on how you're doing the whole perspective thing. But either way, it's easy enough to find our way home. Ooh, steam vents. Okay, now that is actually something very cool. The steam vents would give us a permanent source of power, even during the nighttime, which is very cool indeed, and would be something awesome to build a base around. Ooh, desert ruins, finally. Not as... Ooh, hello. Not as cool as the previous rock, though. Shall we stick around and try and kill this invasion using our single cruise missile? I think we should. UI, stop. UI, no. Oh, it's a tiny little invasion. How cute. There we go, missile to the face. Doing a limited amount of damage, although it's about as fast as us, so trying to do an attack run is actually quite difficult. Please stop flickering. Okay, I'm going to need to restart the game after this fight, clearly. Ooh, but that's like a ramp. You know, second thoughts about the temple there, the ruins, whatever you want to call it. We could so easily convert that into like an aircraft ramp. That would be awesome. And hitting it again. Even with its shield, thankfully the damage does get through, and that's why a lot of people tend to use repair bubbles and the shields together, including myself, because splash damage from missiles is kind of ridiculous. Was that enough to take out its shield? By the looks of things, yes it was, because thankfully repairing does cost a small fortune. So much easier to use than the Hawkeye variant, but I still need to get used to it. A really small build would be even more nimble, or perhaps a more lightweight build, using even more of the lightweight components. We could actually make this far lighter than it is currently. But I just kind of like how it looks. First chunk to be removed. This is taking a while. Oh, it even glides really well. Look at that. Yes, so much better than the Hawkeye variant, just for utter ease of use. We could add more missiles. Oh, I'm so sorry for the flickering, everyone. I will restart it. I will. Great shot there. Well done. Okay, I've decided, in the description, right now, there's going to be a straw poll, possibly in the comment section as well, which is going to be between the ruins and the flat rock. So vote on which of the two you would prefer my final base to be built on. The flat rock means we can have a little landing area, only accessible by aircraft on the top, although the ruins has a lot more area around it we can build, and it has the ramp, which we could use for the aircraft in the future. I'm really torn between the two. Both of them have such awesome features, but I can't decide, so please go ahead, vote in the straw poll, or maybe there's one of those Google poll things. Either way, there'll be something in the description. Go there and find out. And there we are victorious. Okay, so, thank you so much for watching. I'm actually going to call the episode here so I can get your feedback, and I'm going to do a little bit of tweaking with our flyer. I'm really happy with it so far, and I clearly need to restart the game. So if you have enjoyed the video, then of course, likes, favourites, shares, comments, all that good stuff helps out me, helps out the channel, and most importantly, shows that Terratech is a series you would like to see continued in the future. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.